Live, welcome to the Western Kentucky Outpost. I'm Trailblazer Tim, the creative outdoorsman. Hopefully, we're going to have a good time today. Let me adjust this camera a little bit. Right there. Got to get through a few foibles here. This is the first time, so I'm nervous. And I already got a couple people in the chat. Hey, Carolina Chris, I saw you just put a video out, and I haven't had a chance to go and watch it. But as soon as we're done here this evening, guaranteed I'm going to take time and I'm sit down and we're going to go through that thing. Love watching your videos and stuff. Just haven't been able to see enough of them. I'm sure you're like the rest of us, busy as heck and all that stuff. Y'all at 6 o'clock where you're at on the East Coast, those of you folks out there, I'm an hour behind out here in the rolling back countries of Western Kentucky. And we'll talk a little bit about that as the evening goes by and all that other stuff. Hi, Misconduct. How are you? Glad to see you in the chat this evening and stuff. Feel free to invite your friends, all that other good stuff. And I see Mark. Hi. He's coming in from Ireland, however you want to say that. But he's been a really good supporter of mine, and I really appreciate all the support. I want to take just a moment to start this chat out this evening by saying thank you to each and every single one of you folks out there that have supported me generously. Over the past 4 years, we've had this channel and everything. And this is the first time I tried doing live streaming. I bought all the equipment to do so, the nice big Yeti mic and the camera and stuff. And it just sat in a box. I just never had the time and the way to do stuff and the responsibilities. And I still got lots of responsibilities, trust me, and everything, but not the same kind of responsibilities you used to have. And things have changed. We're a lot different. And, Kentucky is a lot different than East Central Florida. And start off by taking a look at a couple other ones. We Mustang 774. Hello, Tim. Hey, buddy, how you doing? And Billy and Rhonda from Strong's Adventures. And here comes Matt, the Florida boy. Hey, man, you were supposed to call me on Saturday afternoon, but we'll talk about that another time. Actually, back to the fact I had a lot of questions, a lot of people asking me about, Tim, what made you move, just pick up and go to Western Kentucky? Did you go there because there's a girl or something or a job? Absolutely not. I've been searching around for the past couple of years, staying full-time in a small camper in East Central Florida and working a full-time job. As everybody knows, I'm a plumber and all that good stuff. And I just didn't feel myself going anywhere, and I left a lot of roots and everything behind. But as you all know, a couple of years ago, I went through a divorce. It wasn't that bad. We got through it pretty good and everything. But I was staying up in a small RV park and paying rent $500 a month and all this other stuff and just wasn't getting really anywhere. And I knew that I wanted to get out of the area and get somewhere where there was a little bit more diversity when it come to all that stuff. I kind of started looking online, got involved in some of the real estate apps and stuff. And I was looking somewhere maybe in the Virginia, Carolinas, Tennessee, somewhere in that part of the Midwest. And I found this property here in Western Kentucky next to the Great Kentucky Lake, which is literally 1.5 miles down the road with a big boat ramp and everything. And a lot of you guys are asking me, well, what happened to that boat you had, Tim? You were doing all that restoration project. Listen, I still got all of that stuff. That boat, the trailer stuff was my mule to pack all my stuff up when I moved out of Florida and hauled all the way up here with a Hummer and stuff. We ended up selling the old RV, got the money we wanted for it, paid off the Hummer, and paid cash on the barrelhead for this property that we're at. And it's not a huge piece of property. It's about 1/7 of an acre. But it's in the middle of nowhere. And before long, I'm going to try to set up on the back porch or on the porch out here where I got enough room. We'll do some live streaming outside so you can kind of get an idea of how thick the woods are here in every direction. I mean, it's not like walking across the field into the woods and stuff. You literally are walking down the side of a mountain every direction you're at. It's a small community. I'd say in this whole area, if you were to take some sprinkles and just drop it from the sky and land, you have maybe about 50 residents that are up here in this area. I live on a little dead end road, and there's about 6 different places like I have. Now, if some of you guys aren't familiar, I bought a 33-foot travel trailer that has a metal pole barn built over top of it, and it has a nice big custom porch and all that good stuff. And it came with a septic, city water. I have high-speed internet out here. We're 15 miles from anywhere, and that's town. 15 miles, not 15 minutes, miles. So I have to get up early in the morning and stuff. We did find ourselves a job. We'll talk about that in a little while. But I kept on coming across this property on this app, and it started off they wanted $35,000 for this piece of property and stuff, and it was just a little bit out of my price range. I figured for that kind of money, I could probably find something a little bit more. Not to mention the fact I really didn't know a whole lot about Kentucky. I always just been one of those elusive kind of states where it's like you got Tennessee and the Carolinas, and there's Kentucky and stuff. Well, believe me, we are in the heartland of the Midwest, and over the months went by and stuff, and I saw the prices just keep dropping from 35. It went down to 25,000, and it went down and down and down, and finally it hit rock bottom at 19 grand. And I said, heck yes, take my money. We went at it, and I bought it. And I stayed in Florida for almost a year before I moved up here, just to get taken care of the loose ends and all that other good stuff, and to make sure the money was right, no bills, no credit cards, none of that stuff and anything. So when we got here, we had a chance. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's see who else is on the chat. JJ Oliver, how is my dog? My dog Blaze, he's outside. I just fed him. He's doing much better. He's still a baby. I rescued him before I left Florida. He is mainly blue heeler, cattle dog. He's got a little bit of terrier in him and stuff. My problem I'm having with right this minute is he's just got that point where his little sack is dropped and his testosterone is through the roof. So I need to schedule an appointment with a local veterinarian and have him fixed. Now, he did get ran over completely, and you've seen that video about 2 months ago. And he made it through it and stuff. But I didn't want that to happen again. And what's the first thing you're going to do? I don't want to put him on a leash. You can't stay inside a house. Went and bought one of those electric dog fences. And I didn't mention this to you guys earlier about this. But I ended up putting it on him. He had a little collar and stuff. I said, I was going to teach him. And so the first night, everything was okay. And then the next night, he decided to go a little bit too close to that little electric voltage thing. And I've never heard a dog scream like a baby and jump in the air so high. It scared him so much. Now, the way the fence worked is as soon as you get outside the boundary of the fence, this thing keeps shocking you for another 10 seconds. Well, he shot out of the yard and out of here so fast, screaming and yelling and stuff, he got lost. And I didn't see him for almost a week. I thought he was gone. He got ran over. Some ate him. Somebody stole him and stuff. And then it was a Saturday morning. I just got back from town getting my provisions for the week and everything. And my neighbor comes over and he goes, "Hey, Tim, have you seen your dog lately?" And I said, "No, I'm afraid he's gone." He pulls up his phone and he pulls up a Facebook page and he says, "There he is right there." He said, "Somebody found him about 2 miles down the road and picked him up, and then he's down at the pound." I'm like, he's in puppy jail. So I got back in the Hummer and I drove all the way back into town. I said, and I got him. We brought him home and stuff like that. Now, he still likes chasing cars and stuff. He's got a little bit smarter, not run out in front of him. So I got to try to do something about that. I don't want to put the electric fence back up. I don't want to build a fence. He's a country dog. There's everybody that's got dogs around here, country dogs. You know how country dogs are. They like to go out and they like to run. And he's a good dog. He's not aggressive. He's not going after any kind of free-ranging chickens or anything like that. So I'm trying to get him to a point, maybe if I do get the little snips out like Carolina Chris said, and get those little boys out of there, it might settle him down just to a point maybe where he can start being a little bit more, manageable at this point. I don't want to kill the spirit out of him because he's got such a great spirit, and he kind of won the puppy lottery by getting moved up here, because when I got him, he was tied to a porch. That's all the life he knew. So I was like, you know what? We're both going up here together and we're going to make the best of everything. And I made a promise to myself. I was not going to put him on a leash and keep him tied up. He's here to be free. This is his chance to live his life as a good dog. We'll get back to you in a second. See what else we got. Mark Thomas, Pennsylvania, checking in. Hi, Mark. Really appreciate it. Everybody that's showing up here. Vorian76. Hey, y'all. Man, this is great. And JJ Oliver's here. My dog's doing good, like I said. So back onto the reason behind we're all out here in Western Kentucky is because I needed a change. I needed to get the heck away from Florida. One of the biggest reasons, and Matt Florida Boy if you're still watching, you're going to know and you're going to agree with me. Florida's just getting to be too darn crowded. It's out of control. When the economy dropped around the country and stuff, the county that I moved from, it really didn't see much of a difference. In fact, because of the space program and SpaceX and all that other good stuff, and all the companies that make stuff for the space age and the companies and stuff, they're all based out of that same county. So you have all these hundreds of families and engineers that are moving back into the area, to the point where it's getting to be so crowded, people are rude, and you mix all that together and everybody's butting their heads. I've had enough of it. Living next to a large highway, US 1, next to the Indian River and stuff, nothing but motorcycles and diesel pushers round the clock, headlights in your face all the time. I had it. And I decided to pick up and come up here where I didn't know anybody. I did a little bit of research about the area and stuff like that, but I didn't know anybody. I took a chance when we moved up here. And, the rest is kind of history. It has not been easy at all. We've run into a lot of foibles. We had a lot of work to do on this property, and we're still working on this property. We had to get ready because up here in Kentucky, they actually have winters, which means I haven't seen a winter in probably about 15 years. When I visited Kansas a while back and everything. So I got to get myself acclimated. That's one of the reasons why I moved up here in the springtime to kind of go through it. It was in the 40s. But I'm going to tell you what, as hot as everybody says, oh man, Florida is hot. Kentucky, it was over 100 degrees for almost 4 weeks in a row. And it was tough. And people up here claim, oh, it's the humidity. The humidity up here isn't nothing compared to Florida. Florida humidity is humidity all the time. Here, it gets super hot. It'll be 105 degrees, and at nighttime, it's 55 degrees. So that range in temperature is really tough on your body. I've had to fight with, getting my body used to it and activating myself, like I said, and everything. And another thing that really makes the Midwest, this is a high agricultural area. And there's a lot of farming, a lot of corn, a lot of soybeans, a lot of tobacco. A lot of people don't realize that Western Kentucky has a lot of tobacco crops and stuff like that. Unfortunately, during that time when we had all that heat and stuff going on back in June and July and everything, that was when the tassels will start to come out on the corn. Now, if you don't know about the tassels, little tassels on the top of the corn stalk and everything, and that's when they need the rain the most. Well, that's when the rain didn't show up. And unfortunately, a good share of the corn crops in this general area pretty much got the pants fried off them. And unless the farmers have, crop insurance, a lot of the, corn this season is going to be used for silage and stuff. Now, unlike the soybeans and the tobacco and stuff are more of a hardier breed crop, they tended to fare a little bit better. And we've gotten the rain back here in the last couple of weeks and stuff, so we're back on track with all that good stuff. But the problem is one of the other things that causes so much heat around here in the summer is from the crops. The corn and the crops produce a lot of heat generating, and it just makes the whole area a lot, more intense of a heat than you can even imagine. Nomadic Wanderer, I just bought in the Villages, kind of regretting it. Well, the Villages, excuse me, this is an adult show, so we are going to take a sip of an adult beverage, excuse me. The Villages is, as far as I know, now you might correct me or whatever, is an area in Central Florida that I believe is north of Orlando. And I think a good share of it is a retirement community, and it's crowded. And there's rules up there and all that other good stuff. They're kind of almost their own zip code, and Florida is the retirement capital of the world, lightning capital of the world, tourist capital of the world, golf capital of the world, and all the rest of the stuff goes along with it. Do I have regrets for moving from Florida? Absolutely not. I would have done what I did 30 years ago if I would have been smart enough to do that. Plain old Chuck in the house. How you doing there, Mr. Miller? Hope you get that jerky I sent to you. I saw that you had some of that. Speaking of such, we just made up another batch. I don't have it listed on here, but you wish you were here. This batch was a special one-off. This is some sweet chili garlic heat. And we're going to open up the bag here in just a couple minutes, and I'll show you what it looks like. It came out pretty decent, and the fellas at work and stuff, they like it and all that good stuff. Speaking of work, One of the things I had to do when I moved up here to Western Kentucky is I had to bet on myself. I ended up selling off most everything I had, except my bare essentials, everything, my RV, all the extra stuff. My rubber kettle grill, old redhead, it made it up here because I use that thing all the time. And my camping gear, and my cast iron, and all that other good stuff. We sold off a lot of stuff and gave away a lot of stuff and everything. We bet on ourselves to move up here, knowing that, I have a trade, and not to repeat myself, I'm a plumber by trade. And we'll talk about the plumbing channel here in a couple minutes as well. And I knew, being as rural as this area up here, I was going to have to really be on my game and see if there was a company around here that would take me in. And I found a company in town. Asked them if they were looking for a plumber. They were like, yeah, okay, here's an application and stuff, and then fill it out and bring it back in. So I did, and I came back into town a couple of days ago, handed it in. And about a week later, I get a call saying, we'd like you to come in and we'd like to give you an interview. So that and this and that and everything, and they offered me a price to start and all this other good stuff. Then they called me in on a Monday morning, and they had sat me in the bathroom with a cup to pee in it and take my drug test, and I came aboard. So, but I had to go through a 90-day probationary time with this job, which I still have probably about 2 weeks left. And since I've been here, they've already given me a raise. They've already went out and bought a van for me. It's sitting there waiting. I'm still riding with another fella. And we've been doing a lot of commercial work. They've got some big jobs are going on. They're building a new library in town, all that stuff, pharmacies and stuff. And they're pushing me hard to get my journeyman license here in Kentucky. And the boss today just gave me the code book to study from so I can go get my test. And with that comes a lot more money. So money's always good. It's not everything when it comes down to the brass tacks of all that good stuff. Strong's Adventure. Billy, Rhonda is working in Texas right now. Yeah, I remember Billy and Rhonda are really good supporters. They live down in, I believe, Shreveport, Louisiana, the birthplace where my Hummer was made and all that good stuff. And you guys down there, Strong's Adventures, I really miss watching your videos. I understand you guys are really busy. Life gets in the way. And along with some of these other people I see on here, like Caroline and Chris, I always enjoy watching all you guys' videos. And when you guys come up missing for a while, it ends up, becoming, you understand, you have life, you got to do things, and that's all there is to it. And you can't expect to drive on the same thing when you have responsibilities to take care of and stuff. So, but that being said and everything, leave me a comment down below and all that stuff, and let me know if it's viable for me to do these live streams at 6 p.m. Eastern, or some of y'all would like me to bump it down to 7 p.m. because you just can't get out of work or whatever, because we plan on having these live streams on a regular basis and jawboning at you for at least a good hour or so until I get tired or I just get wore out and I got to go do something else. But I'm very excited to be able to sit here and to reach out with you guys. Believe it or not, it's a lot different. I've been around a camera, and I've definitely got the gift of gab. And I was a musician, guitarist, singer in bands for the best part of 25 years. So I'm not afraid of being in front of people and talking and stuff. But live stream is a little bit different because there's no stop, hold on, let's rewind, let's try that again. You press play and it's time to go, and whatever happens, happen. And so far, and Matt, the Florida boy, he's tagging back and saying live feeds by yourself are not easy, and they aren't easy because you're pretty much sitting and you're entertaining your audience and hoping that the audience interacts back with you and stuff. And you have to keep a log in your brain. Now, I have nothing written down on paper for ideas and things, any of that stuff. We're just kind of going off the rip and stuff. Your throat gets dry really fast, trust me. So how's the weather out there for everybody? Wherever you're from, where you're watching from. Here in Western Kentucky, we had an all-day rain event yesterday. And it didn't really rain that hard. It was just a drizzle all day long. And it cooled off and it was nice. And, I woke up this morning and it was about 60 degrees. And in this area, we were kind of like on the far outer rim of the Smoky Mountains. And it's true what they say. Smoky Mountains are named after what it looks like up here after the rain. The steam and all that stuff coming up out and in through the trees and the sky looks like smoke. And I woke up this morning and it was a dense fog from all of the rain we had yesterday. Now, trust me, we need rain here badly. And Kentucky usually has the rainy season in the springtime. And in summertime, it kind of is more hot and all that stuff. But it kind of got messed up and around with all that stuff this year, where it really wasn't that rainy in the springtime and it wasn't really rainy in the summertime. And now that summer's kind of gradually working its way away from here, the rain's starting to catch up. Carolina Chris, I never tried a live stream. My mind and mouth aren't good for part. And Matt, the Florida Boy Survival, my buddy old Matt, I miss doing adventures with you, pal. Maybe if you ever make it up my way or I make it back down your way, we'll do that. He says it hasn't rained here in weeks in Florida. Well, listen, I read something yesterday that said that we're going into the third year of, I think, what's La Nina. And what that means is messed up weather patterns. And it also means that the prediction is very good of an early winter. Now, speaking to such, being here in an RV and a camper and stuff, everything's great and stuff like that. But we got a lot of work to do before winter hits, because what's going to end up happening is my lines are going to freeze. I have a water spigot that's outside from the meter that comes to my camper, and it is a garden hose. A garden hose is going to freeze. So I have to go into town. I'm going to have to rent a ditch witch or something. I'm going to have to bury my lines at least 3 or 4 feet deep to get them in here and next to where we're at. Now, remember, we've got that metal pole barn that's built over top of us. And also here in the next month, I'm going to be going into the north part of town, north part of the county, up to a metal fabricator. And I'm going to have them make panels so I can take and I can close this entire metal barn into a shelter with the camper inside this, so we can keep the freezing cold airs out and stuff, and the plumbing from freezing and all that other good stuff. Excuse me. So that's all coming down the pipe and everything like that. And my biggest plan is come springtime, once we get the last frost here, I'm going to be pulling this camper out from underneath this metal pole barn, and we're going to be building the cabin inside of this barn. Now, it sounds kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's already a structure here. It's about 35 feet long by about 18 feet wide by about 18 feet high. And I can build a nice cabin inside of here and make it into a beautiful area. And then the front part of the barn itself, with it being closed in, we'll have a garage door and a door and stuff like that, and an area for the dog to get in and out from the weather. I can have a workshop. I can set up for blacksmithing, woodwork, and do all my stuff and storage and stuff, and everything to be self-contained up inside of here. And we get this camper and stuff. Now, speaking of the camper and everything, it came with property, and it's helped us out to this point, and it's great. And I plan on staying in it through the wintertime. We got a little electric fireplace and some other stuff going on here, but it's old. It's a 1999 camper. That don't sound very old, but in camper years, that's an old camper. But it's relatively in fairly good shape. It's not all busted up or anything. In fact, where I'm sitting right here is part of a master slide. So I have a window that's behind me, a window over here, a window, 2 windows there, and then back behind you is where the kitchen area is, and my porch and all the stuff out there. The Hummer's out in the front. The camper pretty much faces north. Now, one of the reasons why I want to kind of close this in and keep this into a structure down the road is because this corner here to my left is pretty much coming from the west. All right. And then we have the south behind us. And this is where all the weather in this area comes from. And there's some small damage on the outside of this camper because the people, when they put this pole barn in, they only brought the panels down so far, but they didn't bring it back down far enough. And when all the weather came through and the high winds and the rain and stuff, after a while, it just started beating the crap out of the side of this. So there is some damage to it, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time and effort or money on this camper. This is pretty much the place we're staying in until after springtime, and get this sucker the heck up on out of here, and we can build a real cabin inside of here and custom make it, have a laundry and stuff, because every Saturday morning I wake up, I go into town early, and I go do my laundry. And that costs about $7, and I get my provisions for the week and all that good things. But as soon as we get the cabin built and everything inside of here, we're going to have a laundry. We'll have a regular kitchen, a nice bath with a shower, a bedroom, and I'm planning on putting a wood burning stove in. All right, let's see what we got going on up here. Florida Boy Survival says it's very dry. Well, it's been dry as a popcorn fart around here until recently. One thing about here, though, is in the back of the property, I've got my camp pit and all that stuff and a shed and all that stuff back there, the yard, but it's all dirt. So when anybody asks me, where do I live? I tell them I'm a dirt farmer because it's all dirt, and we got giant pine trees that cover us all the way around. I'm constantly have to cut limbs down so they don't crash through my roof and everything. But when it rains, it floods out back behind me. Now, what I'd like to do when I get this camper out of here, we're going to get gravel poured across all this area so we're not getting all that mud and all this other crap that's going on, and we can kind of get things back to normal. But I knew when we moved up here that first and foremost, we had to get up here, and we beat the odds. We didn't have any problems getting up here. We drove straight through. We ended up showing up here. It was about 12:30 in the morning, and I didn't have the key to get into the place. I talked to realtor that I bought it from a few weeks back, and about 12:30 in the morning, I'm tired. Been sleep driving through all night, and so me and my dog just kind of huddled up inside what room we could in the Hummer for the night. I woke up about 6 o'clock morning, and it's thunder and lightning and stuff. We got to get the heck up out of here. We came up on the porch, sat down. I tried to sit and text the realtor and say, hey, man, I'm up here. I need the key to get in. Never heard a response back. I was like, crap. So we ended up getting into the Hummer, me and Blaze, and went into town, found the realty office, went in there and asked them about the realtor. And they come to tell me that 2 weeks before that, the realtor had died from COVID. I'm like, well, I was very sad to hear that, but where's the key? Now I can't get into my place. Lady brought out a bag of keys, assorted keys. Say, take these with you out there, see if one of them fits. By the grace of God, one of them fit. We got in here, and the rest was history and stuff. So that was the first big thing. Not to mention how trashed out this was. There was 1,000 dead bugs up in this joint. Nobody had been inside of here for almost a year, and they just got into little nooks and crannies, cracks, and all that stuff. I don't run a regular air conditioner here. I finally broke down about 3 weeks ago, and I bought a window unit, and I put it in here, and at least I'm being civilized to this point. Back to the chat. All right, Bluefin, Mustang 774, been hot and dry here in Newfoundland. We got guys from Newfoundland, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Ireland. Strong's Adventure, how rocky is the ground there? Let me tell you something. From being from Florida for a long time, a good share of my life, Florida is a sandbar. Now, working as a plumber, we had to do a lot of digging, burying pipes and digging up pipes, fixing and stuff. So the digging wasn't so bad, and the ground is soft and nice sand and sugar sand, except if you're around trees and you have the roots and all that crap going on. Good question about the ground around here. It is hard. You try to take a shovel and break into the ground down here, good luck with that. Now, the area I have to bury my water line from the hydrant out here to where it's going to go is only about 20 feet. In Florida, I could do it by myself in probably about an hour. Not here. You're not even going to get more than a foot down because you're going to wear yourself out because the ground is very hard. It's like a red clay. It almost reminds me of Georgia. All right. It's a reddish color clay, and it's very, very difficult. You don't see anybody when you're driving down the road that's working with ground digging with a shovel unless it's something local. Everybody's got something like a ditch witch, a front end loader, whatever. You don't see people just digging a nice sweet ditch because they'll be there all day and it's super backbreaking. So unfortunately, I have to spend the money. I might not have to. I think that we may have one for the local plumbing company that I work for, and I might be able to borrow it from them or rent it off them for the weekend and bring it up here and get all that taken care of. So, but wintertime is coming, and even being August and stuff, now is the time for us to start thinking about those months coming up, because once it comes and that cold's here, it's too late to start getting ready for things to happen after that point. And staying full time in an RV and a travel trailer is a whole different story, hands down, than in a house. Plain and simple, because there is some skirting that is around the bottom here and stuff. But the problem is the biggest public enemy number one when it comes to the cold and ruining the plumbing and getting it all messed up in an RV is the air and the wind. That's why we're going to cover this thing, like I said, with the metal panels and all that good stuff. And we're going to get it so we can keep the wind out. We're going to put whatever insulation we can. We're going to keep the back part of the whole area opened up and just put some tarps, some dog get in and out and stuff. We have access to get in and out instead of coming up through the front and all that. So a lot of changes coming down the road and everything. Who else we got up here? Robert Morton. Hey, Tim. Robert here on the banks of the Chattahoochee. Welcome, Robert. You ain't that far from me. And I know there's some other guys that are out here that kind of live in the general area. A lot of people in Tennessee, like my buddy Danny from the Tennessee Deerstalker Outdoors and stuff. He's a really good pal. And plain old Chuck, we saw him earlier. He lives in southern Ohio, near Cincinnati area. And we've got Chris's Friday Shin. He lives up there in Cincinnati as well. And the area that we live in, it's very interesting. It's we live in an area where we're next to 4 different states. If I head north of here, within an hour, I'm in southern Illinois. If I head west of here, an hour, less than an hour, I'm in southern Missouri. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And I'm literally about 10 or 15 miles down the road from here, south of me, from the Tennessee border. So Tennessee is not very far from me. Nashville is literally about an hour and a half drive. And then Memphis is only about an hour and a half drive. St. Louis is about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. Louisville is about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. So I'm in the area of all this stuff that goes on and everything. Now, speaking of southern Missouri, which is just west of us, they get small earthquakes almost on a daily basis. 2.2, 2.4. I'm always looking at the news. We've got a little area here called the West Kentucky Star. And I pay attention to that. I watch the news, the weather and stuff. And I'm constantly seeing these updates of earthquake. And it's in southern Missouri. So we actually here in this area of Western Kentucky live on a very large fault line. So into the from the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, with Florida being the hurricanes and all that other stuff, which reminds me, I saw that tornado that happened up in Destin, Florida, in the Panhandle. That was a pretty big EF3 tornado, and it just goes to show you, you're not safe anywhere where you go, really, when it comes down to things. And not to mention the fact, let's go through that whole scenario. How unlucky can somebody get? Because back in December 10th, and you guys saw the little shorts, I went and visited, Mayfield, Kentucky got wiped off the earth by that huge, devastating, once-in-a-lifetime tornado that ripped through there. Here in the county we're at, you got one big town, and that's Murray. The next county over has one big town, and that's Mayfield. So literally 40 miles away from where I am sitting right now is where the path of that tornado ripped through. Unprecedented. Stayed on the ground for almost 400 miles. And I went up and visited that, and it was very surreal, and it was heartbreaking to see, because some of the historic parts of that town just don't exist anymore. The courthouse from back to the 1800s, nothing but rubble. And just complete city blocks, just completely gone. And they got a lot of help from FEMA and a lot of donations, a lot of help from the federal government. And they are going to be working on that thing for years to come. And then what happens just a couple weeks ago? Eastern Kentucky gets wiped out by historic floods. And that place is just, I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, what would be the feeling of going to bed at night? Either getting wiped out by a tornado or getting... One thing I believe, and here's the thing, and excuse me one moment, my throat's getting dry again. You don't really hear a lot of news about Kentucky. Kentucky's kind of known as the bluegrass state. And believe me, one of the cultural shocks I was not ready for, this is the Deep South. And they have a strong Southern drawl. People talk like this, and that's how it is. Tim, how you doing today? And everybody chews tobacco all that good stuff. So, I mean, you really, this is good old boy country boys around here, and people are a lot more laid back. I'm used to working my job as a plumber, and I'm working until 6, 7 o'clock at night. They're rolling the sidewalks up here at 4 p.m. Yeah, I go into work early. Everybody, the time I'm going to work, it's 6 something, and people are already working. People like starting early and getting done early around here. And like Midwest and everything like that, instead of everybody's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now it's breakfast, and then you got dinner, which is lunch, which is a full meal, and then you got supper, which is supper. People like to eat around here. I feel like a small man in the land of giants. Trust me, some of these people, they are some big corn-fed folks around here. I mean, we're working, like I said, on building a new library in town, and it's a big deal because it's an old-time town, and people are very, what's the word I'm looking for? They're very traditional. We're in the Bible Belt up here. Now, I can't say that everybody's religious, but it's an area full of church folk. All right, there's a difference between church folk and religious folk. And I'm not getting into religious or politics, but it's a real cultural shock. So people there, everybody is always so friendly and kind to say thank you, or you go ahead, or all this other stuff. That's a big difference, trust me, from Florida, where a lot of people are rude. And like I said, everybody's from somewhere else, and they're there to get there in a hurry, and they're butting heads and constantly hearing sirens going off. And in the area I came from, and Matt from Florida Boy Survival still lives in the same area and stuff. He knows you constantly, any time, given day or night, you hear airplanes flying overhead. There's a lot of air traffic down here. Yesterday, actually, we had a helicopter that flew over this area. It's the first piece of aircraft that's flown over this area in 3 months. And that helicopter was coming from Fort Henry, which is down in Tennessee, about 80 miles away, and just making routine across the area and stuff. And it was something I was like, what is that noise? Because it's so quiet out here. You wake up in the morning, the only thing you have is your coffee, and you hear the birds singing. And that's exactly one of the hugest reasons that got me the heck up out of that crowded place known as Florida and up here. Let's get back to the live chat here. You got some people out here saying hi to each other. Plain old Chuck and Mustang 774. Carolina Chris, Bourbon, are you already in the doing Bourbon on a live chat? Because we'll be sputtering. Won't get nothing done. Robert Morton. If the federal government wasn't sending billions overseas, we could rebuild those towns. Very correct. Like I said, this is not a religious or political channel, and we're not going to get into that stuff. But I 100% agree with you. I'm an American, just like the rest of y'all, and I respect everybody for their religious and their political beliefs. I would never, ever in my life sit and chastise anybody about their beliefs on anything. And in return, don't sell and try to preach to me your beliefs. Okay, we'll leave it at that. If that's how you are, if you're a Southern Baptist, or you believe in Trump or Biden or this, whatever. If you're a good folk at heart and stuff like that, that's all that matters to me. And that's how it is. The reason why I brought the whole religion thing up is because we are in the Bible Belt, and most of the people are church-going folks. And there is a lot of churches around here. And I'd have to say the demographic of people around here, at least 75 to 80% of people, they go to church on Sunday. That's what they do, is they go to church on Sunday. How is my audio out there, folks? Can you hear me okay? Are you hearing any cackling? Do I have any problems, anything, foibles that I need to fix? Let me know in the comments, all that good stuff. Back to the chat. Carolina Chris says bourbon, and back with Mustang 774, he says tea tonight. Nomadic Wanderer, people are rude as hell in the villages. Hey, preaching to the choir, my friend. I know it. That's one of the reasons why I got out of Florida, because it's crowded. This is my belief with anything in life. Anytime there's something good, people are right there to ruin it. And that goes for everything. And first timer here, Joseph B. Hello, welcome aboard. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for lots more fun and action. You can see kind of great folks I like to hang out with and all that good stuff. And I really appreciate the support. And thanks for taking a moment and dropping by. Carolina Chris, I heard Kentuckians love bourbon. Oh, we do love bourbon. Now, don't get me started on that because I always keep a nice cold freezing bottle of bourbon. Of course, it doesn't freeze in the freezer. In that freezer, and every time I open that freezer up, it's sitting going, "Come get me, Tim." But no, we can't. We have to be smart about things because we have responsibilities. We got to get up and go to work, do all that other stuff. Nothing wrong with sitting and having a beer or two after work and stuff because, you know, a hard-working man gets thirsty. However, the Kentuckians and the Tennessee folks have had that lifelong battle about, is it bourbon or is it whiskey? Well, in most bottles, if you look in a liquor store, it states Kentucky straight bourbon, and underneath it is whiskey. So sorry about that. So is it Kentucky bourbon or is it whiskey or is it bourbon whiskey? I mean, if folks have a little bit more insight on that, I'm still learning. I've never really been a bourbon drinker, but I knew by becoming a Kentuckian, we're going to have to get into the style of trying it. And unfortunately, I really liked it. And so I have to be very careful of it. I have way too much going on in my life, too much responsibilities, too many good things happening to turn myself into, you know, a lush. You know, drinking a couple beers at the end of the day is enough for me. And taking care of the Outpost and all the other good things that we do around here. Wow, looking good. 17 likes, 22 live people here tonight. I appreciate every single one of you guys out there. All right. Everybody's saying that sounds great. Audio is great. Big thumbs up. Sounds great. Joseph B, I did. Thank you. What's on tap? And Zippy Mumbles. That's a great name. Sounds almost like a band. New subscriber, Tim. Thank you so much, Zippy. I appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing more of you on the channel. If you're new to the channel and stuff like that, ask some of the folks that come on here. We do everything outdoors. Okay, we're the creative outdoorsmen. That's by name and trade. A lot of good outdoor channels. So there's a lot of the folks that are on here on the live chat right now. They have really good, great channels. Not to mention the fact, Carolina Chris Outdoors, Strong's Adventures, Nomadic Wanderer. I know you got a channel, and I know you comment on my videos. Man, get back into your groove if you got a chance, because you got a good thing going on, and people like to see that. So I'm giving you a shout out, Nomadic Wanderer. And he was down somewhere in the Caribbean, I believe, and he moved recently up to Florida. Get back into your groove, man. I really appreciate the support. A lot of people like to see your content and stuff. As long as it does its job, you can call it whatever you want. This is true. So you make the best of everything. And one of my sayings is, it's not much, but it's something. And something's better than nothing. Right? Right. So what's on tap? I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have been going on around here lately. Besides the weather and getting a job, doing all that other good stuff. The dog, he's a pain in my butt, and it's an everyday struggle. But I love him to death. He's my son. You know, we left everything behind. I have no real friends. I have some acquaintances, that I've met up here, but I have a very small circle, mainly the people that I work with. Everybody that's in this small little neighborhood, I only talk about one or two people. The guy lives a couple door, actually next door. I just helped him put all his plumbing into his new cabin. He just built a brand new cabin. He's a retired veteran, and I didn't charge him any money. And the reason why is because I know that favor will come around in time. And if you see my community post a couple weeks ago and stuff like that, another guy that lives down the way from me and stuff, he's moved down here and he's a little bit older. And I got a little comment from somebody saying, well, you know, it's good to do nice things, but don't try to put the attention in your lap. I never do that. There are so many things that I do to try to help people without any inkling to, you don't even need to say anything to me. You know, just like making my jerky and all the other good stuff and sending them out to my friends. It's what I do. That's the kind of person I am. That's what I like to do. And he had a generator that went out and died. And that's the only thing that keeps him going, because he doesn't have electricity to his place. And so being blessed with, you know, how much we have been blessed and worked our butt off, I decided to go out and get him a generator. Now, He didn't want me to give it to him, so he pretty much we're doing it on a consignment where he's agreed to give me whatever money he can until it gets paid off. And that's cool. That way it's not really a gift, it's helping friends. That's what friends do, is help friends. Plain and simple, down to earth, everything's set aside. And folks out there, you have your own way of doing things. Now, there's something that I really want to try to explain to somebody, you folks out there as well, excuse me. When you're on YouTube and you're doing videos, we're not talking about live streams at this point. All the folks out there that have watched my videos over the time and stuff, and all the support and everything, and you've seen me kind of evolve from going to this, doing this and stuff like that. And I've been told by a lot of people, stick to one subject, one niche, just stay with it and everything. I've had a really hard time doing it. That's one of the reasons why I called my channel The Creative Outdoorsman, is because it's pretty much everything outdoors and being creative at being outdoors and what we do outdoors. And I've had a lot of people think that, I am not the kind of person that tries to sell myself to anybody. I am who I am, and I'm trying to live a life of being the best version of myself. And I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And I have a lot of people have told me, who are you? I don't trust you, and blah, blah, blah. And other people, they're like great and stuff. One of the reasons why is because a lot of times when I try to put a point across to people, I've learned in the past the best way to do it is to be assertive. And if you're not assertive, people don't take you seriously. But sometimes when you're assertive at trying to make a point, folks out there take it the wrong way. And one of the things that I want to address too, and this is a huge, huge thing, and there's no hiding from it, especially being a public figure like myself and a creator and an influencer on YouTube. I get it. And I get a lot of comments from people about my bad teeth. There you go. I said it. I know that I have bad teeth. No, I'm not from England. And second of all, I'm not a meth head. We don't do drugs up here. I've worked for a mom and pop company for a long, long time before I moved up here. And they never offered any kind of health insurance whatsoever. And I was just making enough money to get through and pay my bills. And over time, we just turned 50 years old this year, and my teeth had started to deteriorate. But now that we've got ourselves set with our feet on the ground a little bit better, we've got some money put away, and we've got good money we're making, and YouTube's doing pretty good as well. I've made it a priority in this next year to get my teeth completely fixed. So thanks for being patient. It's not easy, being a YouTuber sometimes, because you have to have, thick skin and let some of the comments roll off your back and everything. Usually, I take everything with corrective criticism. Now, if you get downright crappy and nasty with me, I'm going to remove that comment. That's just the way it is, because negativity can grow negativity with other folks. Next thing you know, you got a whole comment section full of people saying he's got bad teeth, bad. Get over it, folks. Okay, a lot of people got things that are wrong with them, but I don't walk around saying, oh, he's got a mole on his face, or look, his nose is big, or people are people, and they are the way they are. And a lot of people, first thing they think of when they see you got bad teeth, that's either A, you're a drug head, you're on meth, or you're just a dumpy person. I'm not. I'm very clean. I keep a high profile on everything that I do. Unfortunately, one of the things that I've had to kind of opt out on and taken care of has been my teeth. My teeth started going bad probably about 6 or 7 years ago. But we're back on track. Another couple of weeks, we're going to have all our insurance, dental insurance, medical insurance, and you're darn right, I'm getting in there. We're going to get this whole thing cleared up and get all you haters behind us. But hopefully you still like the videos and stuff like that. Back to the chat. Let's see what's going on. Oh, yeah. Robert Morton, only a couple of weeks until Spamtember. You folks just never let that down, do you? Now, there's some myths about some of you folks out there that, who started Spamtember and blah, blah, blah. Well, who cares who started Spamtember? The thing is who has really brought it out into a yearly thing. It's been a very good community thing that we've all loved to do, and it gives opportunity for all you folks out there to have an opportunity to be part of the community and start making up little spam recipes. That's why it's called Spamtember. Now, last year, unfortunately, I don't know if you're getting a chance to watch it this year, our old pal Fernbark that lives up here there in the great Northwest in Washington State, I believe. He actually was hands down the winner of last year's Spamtember. He had the most videos put out. He had the most creativity, all that stuff. And he never got a prize. And I told him he'd get one sooner or later. But darn it, he's never sent me his mailing address. So I can't mail him nothing. I've even asked him. So if you're watching this, old Fernbark, email me your shipping address so I can send you out things. Now, remember, folks, those of you that are watching this channel, not even the live strap, but if you follow this channel and you have a channel or you have stuff like that, the best way to get any kind of feedback or response from me is to go ahead to my email, the creativeoutdoorsman@gmail.com, and send me your name and your mailing address. This way you can get in on some of the giveaways and the goodies like this beef jerky. Now we are getting ready to show you a piece of this newest batch called Sweet Chili Garlic Heat. Have a look at that. Oh my goodness. You wish you were here. Let's give that a try. You guys ever had that sweet chili sauce? That right there is exactly what's on here. And it's got garlic in it as well. Brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, whatever. You can taste that garlic and that chili. And I put just a dash of cayenne in there. Woo-hoo! Ah, it's hitting right there. Man, it's good. But I only made a small batch of this. I made it up for the fellas at work and stuff and a little bit for myself. But like I back to what I was saying, if you leave me your name, you email me, creativeoutdoorsman@gmail.com, give me your name and your address and stuff. I'll take that email and I'll take a piece of paper we have right here, and I will write down your addresses and all that other good stuff. If you can see real quick, I write down people's names and addresses all the time. That way I have a way of keeping up with some of you folks out there for where to send you goodies. It'll be gifts or care packages. Woo! Now that jerky isn't that hot. It's just right. Right at the end, it just, after you get through that chili, that garlic, a little bit of that sweetness that's going on there, then it comes back and goes, gotcha. And that's really good stuff. So I don't eat a lot of jerky myself. I give most of it away. The reason why is because I have bad teeth, and we already know that. So that'll all change and all that good stuff. I still like eating a little bit of it now and then. And I get a great sense of pride and enjoyment out of sharing things with people. I don't need any big thanks. Listen, if I send you something in the mail, such as a jerky or a prize package or something like that, don't think that you have to or you feel obligated where you need to go ahead and do some sort of a response video or mail call. I mean, feel free to do so. That's great. But, even if you don't even have to tell me thank you, but if you send me a simple email, just let me know, I got the stuff, Tim, and it was great. Thank you so much. That's all I need to know, because I had prizes out in the past to people and never heard anything back from them. And there was part of me that kind of felt as though it got lost in the mail. And I'm like, well, shoot, that was a cool package and stuff. That's kind of things we like to do. But we're not a gimmick channel. It's not about a bunch of giveaways and stuff like that. It's just my way of doing things. You folks on YouTube are, like family to me, I mean, I'm not married anymore. My kids are grown up. My mom and dad both passed away over the years and stuff. And I really don't talk to a lot of my brothers and sisters or anything. So it's pretty much we are lone dog McQuaid, or whatever, lone wolf McQuaid, whatever we want to call it. So I get a great deal of satisfaction by interacting with you folks that are out there. What else we got going on here? All these shenanigans up here. Don't worry about the haters. Matt Shanahan, your teeth are fine. Who cares? Well, I know that, my top look pretty good. The bottom aren't so great and everything. We're going to get them taken care of and stuff. I do appreciate that, though. It does make me feel better about that. It's best that those kind of people just move on. Well, unfortunately, we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. It's an outdoor channel, not an orthodontic channel. Ignore them. Vorian 76. Dang, that looks good. Old pal Fernbark, just send it to my PayPal. Okay, well, it's almost one of those things, all right? If you don't want a prize and you want a prize, then we'll just get you a loaded gift card from now on, okay? And we'll take care of all that. Strong's Adventures. We did get your package, and really thank you. We aren't going to open the jerky until we can shoot a video. It even went to Tennessee with us, but it rained all the time. We don't feel obligated. We just want to show how cool the stuff you send us is, Tim. I appreciate it, guys. Like I said, but just let you guys know, there's absolutely no obligation whatsoever. When I send something to somebody, I don't care what you do with it. You can give it to a friend for all I care. You wish you were here. Man, that's got that sweetness to it. And that garlic. Yummy. Anyways, woohoo. That being said and everything, plain old Chuck, I finished my jerky the same night at the camper. Fantastic. I know, I watched that video. It was jerky and an adult beverage. All right, it's the way we roll, man. Anyway, that being said, go back to a couple things. Like, went up through one of the comments here. Blah, 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 blah. Dang, that was good. Send it to my PayPal. It's an outdoor channel. It's terrible to have the comments about parents left on a video. It's true, though. Unfortunately, now, those of you guys that have watched my videos and stuff like that, did you guys notice about 4 weeks ago, I had a video I put out that went through the freaking roof? Don't ask me for the recipe or the blueprints for how that did. We just ended up, I think it's petering out right around almost 430,000 views in 4 weeks. How did that happen? The only thing I think of is topics, the right time, the right place, all that stuff. And we went from 2,300 subscribers up to, we're knocking on the door of 8,000. Wow. Just think about it. And we weren't, that day, and I had a couple people ask me, that day that video got produced, it was on a Saturday afternoon. And us old folks who like to take naps. It was about 1 o'clock. I was like, man, I got to get a video out. But I was like, and I went and laid down on my bed. I was like taking a nap. I'm just laying there. I'm going through things on my phone. And I was like, what is that? I started looking at it. I'm like, maybe I can make a video on that. So I kind of gathered a little bit of research and ripped it off the cuff. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and I was like, I got 140 subscribers. By 7 o'clock in the morning, I had 7,000 subscribers, and the rest is history. And I probably never going to have that happen again. Now imagine 400 and almost 50,000 viewers coming on to watch a single video in that course of time. You're going to get the haters. And the people are coming out of the woodwork and saying, oh, man, it looks like you've been chewing on bad cans, or are you a meth head, and blah, 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 blah. So remember, the more that you put yourself out there in public, in front of folks, and the more people see you, the more you're going to have to answer to folks. Now, like I said, I can take things with corrective criticism, but if you get downright nasty and crappy with me, I'm going to have to delete the comment, and because we don't want that negativity on the platform. And it's now we got that all the way and everything. I do appreciate every single one of you guys that are on here. We got some new guys coming. What do we got? Oh, we have Cheesehead Chris in the house. Oh, the elusive Cheesehead Chris. Neva's doing great. Thanks for asking. Doing good. Expiration dates on food items is misleading, Carolina Chris. That is true. Now, if you guys want to know what video that I actually had blow up and stuff, go back on my channel, go to Creative Outdoorsman, go to the videos and scroll down to where the thumbnail says Wake Up America. And it was a video that I did about debunking the expiration date on canned goods and stuff. And who knew that so many people wanted to see a subject like that? Cheesehead Chris, believe it or not, was it plain old Chuck that actually, it took plain old Chuck sending me a little package in the mail for me to get a sticker from Cheesehead Chris, which is on my refrigerator. So every time I reach to go get that Kentucky bourbon, I'm looking right at your sticker and stuff like that. So great to see you in the chat, man. Awesomeness. And we got a lot of people that have been in and out of here right now. We've got 14 that are viewing. We've been up to 22 at one point, and we're kind of up on an hour, and I still haven't bitten my tongue or the inside of my cheek. So, other things that are going on around this area. A couple things that I want to explain to you. Excuse me, still chewing on that jerky. Back to what we were doing in Florida. Most of the things that you saw me doing when it comes to videos is a lot of hike outs and a lot of outdoor lunches and little micro camps and overnights and all that other good stuff. And what happened to those, Tim? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. First and foremost, one of the biggest things is the economy happened. And I get pretty good gas mileage in my Hummer, but gas prices have been so stupid that everywhere that I want to go, there's so many there's caves out here. We got land between the lakes. We got all these amazing places to go, but who wants to spend $200 on gas to go there? Excuse me. Not to mention the fact the woods up here aren't like the forests down in Florida. I already said this once. It's not like walking out of a field and into the woods. These are deep, deep forests, huge forests. And they don't just go out, they go down. You're walking down the side of a mountain, and they're a bit intimidating. Now, I've got them right in my backyard. My dog, he's not scared. He walks through them all the time. He's got friends on the roads around here. He's a little smarty pants. He's the brave one of the bunch and everything. So we've been kind of getting ourselves acclimated. Like I said, moving up here, the first and foremost thing is we got to get up here. We got to make it through the first year. We got to get ourselves acclimated to not just the weather, but the climate, the people, and get through our first winter. And we're doing pretty good so far. And if we can get through that first winter and through all that stuff and come back out the other end come springtime, that's when the big stuff's going to happen. So I can't wait to get a cabin built in here, get a nice wood burning stove, all that stuff, and really get our feet wet and really enjoy all the good stuff that this area has. And like you heard me say, if I would have known about doing something like this 30 years ago, I would have done it in a heartbeat. This is a magical area, and I'm very, very blessed. When I bought this property, I tried to look at the geographics of the area, and everybody thinks of Kentucky with the land and stuff. Go over to East Kentucky, That's where all the mountains are and stuff. That's where the horrific flooding happened a couple weeks ago. And one of the reasons why is because all the little towns and villages down through there are built in valleys. And when you get one of these historic 100-year storms that dumps 4 or 5 inches in an hour, all that rainwater comes down off the mountain and it floods out those towns. And how they've been able to keep towns in that area for so long, for so many hundreds of years, is beyond me. You'd think it'd be an every year kind of thing that's happened. So between the horrible tornadoes out here in Western Kentucky, where I live, and the bad flooding in Eastern Kentucky, this has been a really bad weather year for this state, not to mention the drought. We were in a moderate drought back in June and July that burned up all the corn. Like I said, tobacco and the soybeans and stuff are doing pretty good. But you know, it's you thought you were going to come up here and everything is like, let's move to the country. Surprise. You know, it's beautiful, but it comes with a price, and another price that's really, all right, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I have to go into town, and hopefully you guys are listening. I'm going to have to go into town this weekend to get some blood work done. Here's the reason why. I haven't really been feeling myself the last couple weeks. It could be just one of those things, whatever, you know, feeling like you got some really bad heartburn, but that's not really it. Or your muscles are aching. Oh, my heart's bad or something. The ticks are really bad here in Western Kentucky. And unfortunately, I wasn't ready for them. And in the first month of being here, I got bit 3 times by ticks. That's bad. And they can cause Lyme disease, not to mention what's called the Rocky Mountain spotted fever. And so I need to go get some blood work done and find out if I contracted something like that. Hopefully not. If not, you're going to live the rest of your life on antibiotics. And a lot of people live a normal life with Lyme disease and the spotted fever and stuff. And there's vaccines and stuff for that stuff. But that's another thing that's kind of really leered me away from hiking into these deep woods until I can really start focusing between going to work every single day and breaking your butt 50 hours a week and trying to take care of the property here in the Outpost and all that other good stuff. and the weekends come and you're doing more chores and running to town to get your provisions, do your laundry, doing, cleaning the place, raking the leaves, cutting, next thing you know, you don't have any time to do stuff. But trust me, like I said, getting up here and getting through the first year is first and foremost when it comes to everything. All right, let's get back up here to the chat. Buried, axe blade, +1 deep, huge force. I ain't seen you in a while, pal. I know you used to comment a lot on my channels and stuff. I hope you're doing fine. Mustang 774. I loved hiking in Kentucky and Tennessee when I was there a few years ago. It's a magical area up here. There's a reason why people live up here. It is definitely, if you're into the rural backwoods and country, this is definitely a place to be. And where I found is kind of like a little hidden secret. I never really thought much about it. But you think of Kentucky, what do you think about? You think about bluegrass music, you think about the Kentucky Derby and bourbon and the moonshiners out in the east part of the state. And that's what you think about. You really don't think about a whole lot of other things out here. The wildlife is incredible. You guys watch me. I showed you some close-up, good video footage of the great hummingbirds that we have around here. And we've got probably about another month and a half, and they're going to start heading south down towards Mexico and stuff. I've had bald eagles land right here back on the back of my property on top of my shed. We've seen some water moccasins. Yes, we have them here. Got the big lake that's down the hill there. And not to mention everything else. Dude, listen, when I leave here, everything's dirt road going back out here. You got to drive about 2 miles until you get to the main road. And every single day driving down through there, there is giant deer that are running through there anytime given day or night. Some big bucks, plenty of doe with their babies and all that stuff. Shoot, I see quail around here all the time. Everything and anything you could imagine is in these woods. You heard some giant owls out in this area. I mean, there are some really, really big critters. And that's why I'm concerned about my dog, because my dog, he's good and he's smart and he's fast. He's a good little runner and he's strong. He only weighs about 45, 50 pounds. And you get one of these big birds or something like that, they could take a dog out. Not to mention the fact that this area up here is actually called what's called the old Wildcat subdivision. This is an area that years ago, they made into a community where they meant for it to become a thriving kind of lake community. And so they allotted off all these different lots down through here, and they ran water and they ran electricity. Now, nothing is city sewer out here. Everybody's on septic. I have my own septic and stuff. But they also buried fiber optic internet through the whole area. Well, over time, developers kind of gave up on it, and they just started selling little lots off. So there's really not a lot of people out here. And like you see living here in a camper, there's a lot of people doing the same exact thing that I'm doing up here. Shoot, I drive down the road, and there's somebody that's got a Class A, one of those RVs that you drive, an old one. And they just got it parked on the side of the road, and they're living in that thing with a generator. I mean, so I don't feel as bad. But, life is not as what's the word, majestic as you would think of Florida. Everybody thinks of Florida, and you got the beaches, you got Disney, and, you got the cruise ships and all that stuff. But once you get off the beaten path, it's just like anything else, except it's crowded and it's hot and people are rude, and I'm over it. I'm glad to be out of here. Up here in Kentucky, people, there is a lot of deep rural areas. You could walk for literally days in the state and never run across anything. That's how rural this area is. And I love it because I don't really hear anything. I might hear a neighbor now and then it's running a power tool, or maybe, an ATV or side-by-side going down one of the trails and stuff, and a car now and then it goes through here, but there's no real traffic. You can't hear the sirens of anything like a fire truck or police or any of that. No air traffic, none of that crap that goes on. And it's just great. It's so peaceful, and it's wonderful for your heart and your soul. And the older you get, the more you start appreciating those kind of things. And I don't know about y'all, but there isn't a single day that I wake up that I take for granted. Each and every day, I am grateful to be on this planet, and so should you. Not to mention what everybody's gone through in life in the last couple of years or so. I guess it's really brought out the vulnerability in a lot of people. and a lot of people taking poor advantage of it in ways where they get what they can because they deserve it. There's a couple things you never hear come out of my mouth. Oh, I deserve it. I don't believe in deserving, and I don't believe in luck. Nobody deserves anything. Everybody's on a fair playing game, all right? And you earn whatever it is that you go after. And I don't believe in luck. Every once in a while, you can get lucky doing a few things, but I believe success comes a lot from being smart and planning things out a lot and forecasting things before you make the jump and doing things. Sometimes things don't always work out the way you plan, but you'll see your odds go up greatly in life, whatever it is, if you kind of pay attention and you go through things and you see what could happen, what couldn't happen, and keep all the odds in that space and plan for it in a way where you're going to have better odds of succeeding. That's why I say I don't believe in like, oh, you just got lucky and stuff. Luck is for amateurs. Being successful at what you do is something that is hard earned. And like I said, sometimes it don't work out the way that you hoped it would be, but that doesn't mean to give up. You got to keep your head up and keep plowing and pounding and doing and doing and doing. And like all the rest of you creators are out there that do the YouTube thing and all that stuff, trust me, it's not easy to wake up every week and to put out a video or two. You got to think about, what am I going to do a video about this week? What do I think people will like? And a lot of people get back into the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's not going to happen. A lot of you folks out there that do YouTube do it for fun. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Doing YouTube, it's a great way, like we're doing now with a live chat and everything. It's a great opportunity to connect with friends, especially when you don't have a lot of physical in-person friends. Believe it or not, these kind of, chats and watching videos, put videos out, are very rewarding when it comes in. You get to meet people you never thought you'd meet. Trust me. Back to the whole point where I told you I was a musician that played live in bands for the best part of 25 years and played in front of thousands of people over the years. YouTube gives me something that never gave me. Now, there's nothing like the high of being up on stage with an electric guitar and cranking out a song and people just cheering and loving it and stuff, and that's great. And there's no other feeling that can even come close to that. But being here on YouTube, it's such a larger platform and stage than any musical event that I ever played. And I played some big places. I played the House of Blues a couple times, and there were several thousand people there, and festivals and all the bars and clubs around the area, and met a lot of people. But as soon as I kind of got out of the music scene, a lot of those people I met, they went down the road. And, it's almost like the old Fleetwood Mac song, players only love you when you're playing. And it goes for everything in life, And if you're giving and you're at the party and all that stuff, the party's gone. We're like, look for the next party. You're not legit anymore. That's why I don't judge people by the characters or about what they can and can't do. It's about genuine stuff and what comes in the heart and real people that have real goodness to them, which is getting harder and harder to find. That's why I keep my circle very small, because the less people I have to be friends with, the less people I have to worry about or explain things to. Let's see what's on chat. All right. Yeah, this whole conversation up here with Cheesehead Chris. Okay. And our old pal Fernbark. I refuse to eat expired food. It is far too dangerous. You are full of poop, my friend. I see you eating all those old MREs and stuff. But you got to go check out your old pal Fernbark, like I was talking about. He does a lot. I watch every single one of his videos. He's up in the far northwest. He's got a place called Morning Wood. And if you guys are new to the channel, whatever, go check him out. He's your old pal Fernbark, and he's in the chat and stuff like that. Go type that into YouTube and find him. He does a lot of MRE reviews and all that other good stuff. And he's got, like me, he's got a dry sense of humor and stuff. He's got a cool little place up there. He's got beautiful flowers and hummingbirds, and he's kind of like me. He likes being out in the middle of nowhere and just putting these videos out. He's a great guy. So back to the chat and stuff. Cheesehead Chris, CCO hasn't gotten on yet. Carolina, everybody's cracking up and they're not even paying attention to what I'm saying. I like it. I don't care. And Cheesehead Chris says it's the male Carolina Chris Outdoors. And let's get back down to a couple other things that's going on here. Buried Axe Blade. Federal flood insurance. Keep returning to the fertile lands. As I understand it, pretty much everyone in the floodplain counts on getting flooded out every 3 years. That's true. I mean, when you move somewhere, you better do your research. You know, like a lot of people, I want to move to Florida. I want to move to Florida. Oh, you know, the hurricanes. Well, it ain't just the hurricanes. All right, you got to deal with the people, not just mention people. There's tornadoes too down there. Okay, you're on a sandbar that's surrounded by but nothing but the ocean. So you're a ticking time bomb of any kind of weather that could happen. Now, what makes the weather so dangerous up in these areas? Well, this happens to be where the jet stream is dipping down and out. And when that cold weather starts pushing down come fall and wintertime, and it's hitting that warm weather, they're going, you give. No, you give. And this is where the weather starts getting very dicey. You can go from being a 90-degree weather day into it being a tornado and down to 60 degrees. You ever felt how cold the rain is after a big storm and that air and stuff, that front coming through? And the most dangerous areas that get it on a prolific, regular period of time is those areas where the jet streams go through. And that night, December 10th of December of last year in Mayfield, Kentucky, it just happened to be where all the ingredients were perfectly right, and it happened. Now, I have done some research, and I've heard about people saying that the jet stream is slowly moving eastward. So a lot of these places you hear of the tornadoes always being in tornado hour, like Oklahoma and Kansas, Nebraska and stuff, they still get theirs. But a lot of that weather and stuff is starting to move eastwards into areas like Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky. That's the reason why you have this kind of stuff going on these days. Let's get back to chat. I'm still wearing the Cabela's hat I won in your giveaway years ago, Chuck. That's awesome. And I'm so happy to hear about that. Strong's Adventure, LOL. I am glad that I could help build a plant that made a good product that can get you up and down them dirt roads, even if they did shut it down 2 years later, talking about the Hummer plant. Shreveport, Louisiana, where the Hummers were originally built, the H3, in which I actually drive. A lot of people are like, well, that's not a Hummer. Well, trust it is. It's third generation Hummer. And believe it or not, one of these days we're going to take a ride down towards Tennessee line. And I think it's off of Route 641, heading down towards Hazel, Puryear, Paris area. There's an area, and it is what do you call it? A giant spot for Hummers. H1 military Hummers. They've got over 100, 200 of them. They're sitting out in this yard. And you can go in there and you can make a bid on everything. They got the wagons, they got the trucks, they got the buses, they got all that stuff. I drove by there the first time. This was a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh my God, I was in heaven. All H1s, the military ones, every color, every design. And you can pick them up for anywhere from 8,000 all the way up to probably 100,000. Some of them are custom made. But it's almost like that was a depot where a lot of them got dropped off. And there's more Hummers there than you would find at a National Guard armory. I mean, there's that many. I've never seen that many Hummer H1s, the first generations, in one spot in my entire life. And it's really cool. And too bad I'm never probably going to have the money to go pick one up. But it's fun to look at them, that's for sure, and all that stuff. So how's everybody doing out there? How do you get your internet out there? Okay. Excuse me. Out here in this area, that's a good question because I was really worried about it. We have a company that's called WK&T. It's Western Kentucky and Tennessee telecommunications. And they don't work off of cable here. And it's nothing overhead from the telephone line or anything. It's buried fiber optic. Like we were back talking a little while ago about this area at one time was supposed to become a thriving community and never happened. Well, before that really was part of the plan, they came through and they buried fiber optic lines through here about 20, 30 years ago. And it's always been here. And a lot of people that may end up living in the area have no idea. They try to work off their plan with their cell phone and all that stuff. And we all know that that's garbage, especially if you're trying to do something such as a live stream. There's no way in heck I could do anything like that. I'm trying to work off a phone or something like that. So we really lucked out when we came up here and found out that we had high-speed internet. And one of the great things about this high-speed internet, we don't get a lot of foibles. It doesn't crash. It's all buried underground. Not to mention the fact that if you're on regular cable and you got the internet, especially you're in a neighborhood, kids get out of school, everybody's gobbling the internet up, the internet starts going slow or goes out, or you get outages or storms come by. So like, that doesn't happen here. Everything is underground here. So I think I had a problem with the internet one time when it came out, since I've been here, and it had to do with, I believe something happened. They were changing a format with the internet with the company, and it was going through a 2-hour delay process, and they sent emails out to everybody telling everything. Now, believe it or not, even though I have internet and stuff like that, I have this thing on my phone that's called, I go to my setting, and I have iPhone and stuff. I have to go to my cellular, and I have to go to Wi-Fi calling. See that? Now, that's the only way that I can get a text message or a phone call out here. Because if I don't have Wi-Fi and put my Wi-Fi calling enabled on my phone, I can't make a phone call, I can't get a phone call, and I can't receive a text message, even if I have internet. If I have the internet going, I enable the Wi-Fi calling, then I can make phone calls, and we can text message and all that other stuff. So ultimately, Kingpin, 100%, that internet is it's a must. I have to have it out here because we live so far deep out here in the middle of nowhere. When I moved up here, I'm like, well, maybe we're going to have to, live with the fact that we might not be able to have internet and the whole YouTube thing, and might have to go to the library and stuff and go and do my video. But no, we lucked out, and I'm very happy. And like I said, that's one of the things where you kind of got lucky. All right. I did research, and I kept on coming up before we moved up here. What kind of internet can I get up here? And it kept on going to Spectrum. Oh, we don't offer it out there in that area. You're just too far out there. I'm like, come to find out, I have a piling that is across the street from me. And I went over there after I moved into the area, and I read it, and it said WK&T, high-speed internet. I'm like, what? And I drove into town, and I found a local office, and they're like, sure. And they charged me $99 a month, which is not much, believe it or not, because we don't pay rent here. We bought the property. I don't have a mortgage or anything like that. My property tax up here is $100 a year, and that's it. So the only bills I pay is my internet, put gas in my Hummer, my auto insurance, my telephone, and my water. And that's pretty much it. So making good money and having very little overhead. Now you see why I'm up here. Peace and quiet, extra money in the pocket, all the goodies and the accessories that a growing boy needs. Why would I want to do anything differently? We got more people on chat. Let's check it out. Expeditionary Johnny, hey, is in the house. Sorry I missed your live chat the other night, Johnny. I saw it. I didn't get a chance to go see the replay and everything. Expeditionary Johnny, I was newly subscribed to each other and everything. He's a great guy. He does a lot of cool things and stuff. Go check him out. Go subscribe to him. Tell you I sent you. And he says, hi, Strong's Adventure. I'm right on the edge. Cell signal isn't very good, but I have good Wi-Fi and make Wi-Fi calls on my cell. And back up here, that kind of takes care of that. Strong Adventure, doing good here, Tim. I have the same adult beverage as you. That's great. We got new people on here. Mary Quite. Is it Quite or Quiet? Quite. Hi there. How's your kasori coming along? Do you still like it? Absolutely, Mary. We were just talking about it, showing you a piece of the jerky. This is that sweet chili garlic heat, and it's delicious. The reason I'm not chowing down on it is because I'm trying to be decent with table manners, because I'll sit and chew on that thing and everything. Did you end up, Mary, did you end up getting one of the kasoris? Because if you didn't and you're on the fence, I highly, strongly suggest that. And I'm not a spokesperson for the food dehydrator I got, but it's been a huge game changer. The only thing I've been able to really work with and done with it up to this point is make the beef jerky. But there's endless amount of things you guys could do. You can make trail mix, any kind of fruits or vegetables. You can dehydrate them. You can put them in your little Mylar packages and get stuff like that. Now, there was a myth that went around, and I don't know if it's true or not. If so, it's done. And somebody let me know if you get a chance to go on Amazon. People were telling me that Amazon was dropping Mylar bags and wasn't going to sell them anymore as of the 1st of August. So before that happened, I went ahead and I stocked up on a whole bunch of them, and the oxygen absorbers and stuff. They were saying they were going to stop carrying Mylar bags for sale on Amazon due to drugs. People buying the Mylar bags so they could, ship drugs. And they weren't not able to detect them or smell them. Or I don't know exactly about that whole charade that went on there. But if any of you guys out there heard about this or the speculation or whatever, nonetheless, I went ahead and I stocked up on them. I'm sure there's other avenues that you could probably end up getting Mylar bags if they're not available any longer on Amazon. But Amazon being this big, huge, the biggest things on earth, if there was enough complaints and stuff, then by dropping a little product like that, they'd rather protect their business than end up being a provider or some sort of, enabler for those who use these Mylar bags for, purposes that we don't want to talk about. Mountain Grizzlies in the house. Hi, liked your channel. Liked your canned foods expiration video. Any thoughts on antibiotics long-term storage? Well, believe it or not, Mr. Mountain Grizzlies, and thank you. That's an awesome name right there. Really appreciate you coming on. One of many, many people that asked me a lot of questions. Any thoughts on antibiotics long-term storage? Well, if you also watch some of my other videos, the only thing I can really try to suggest to you, depending on what kind of antibiotics, are they liquid antibiotics? Are they pill antibiotics, something you take, ingest and stuff like that? Best thing that I can possibly give to you, if it's something that needs to be refrigerated, all that good stuff, I'm going to go back to my whole thing. Mylar bags, you can store anything you want. If you got like a pill container that's got pills in it and stuff like that, and you're worried about going bad, put that pill container in there, put it in one of these Mylar bags, seal them up really good, put them away if you want them to stay for long periods of time. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to antibiotics and stuff like that, most people have those types of things in the house, and they're rotated and usually have them because you're ingesting them or you're taking them. And I'm not really I don't have a lot of knowledge on how you can long-term storage stuff like that. I do know for a fact, and I'm going to get this out of the way, there's any of you folks out there also that are watching this video that came to the channel because of that expired canned goods video. One of the biggest questions I kept on getting from people is, I stated in the videos, one of the ways to keep canned goods good is to keep them in good condition and at a moderate temperature. Everybody asks me, what is considered a moderate temperature? Well, here you go. Here's the $1 million question. The answer. Moderate temperature to me is, what temperature do you keep your house? Do you keep it 75 degrees? Maybe you don't run an air conditioner. All right. So I'd have to consider anywhere for the cooler you can keep the temperature of anything, period, is your best bet. All right. If it's something you don't want frozen, of course, keep it above freezing temperature. All right. But if you can keep that thing as cold as possible, shoot, if I could have another refrigerator, I could just keep my canned goods in a refrigerator, I'd do that because that's the most moderate temperature possible. But if you live in remote areas and, maybe you like have me, like you have a camper that sits somewhere that you don't live in full time and it's hot and you left, goods in there, canned goods, chances are they're not going to last as long as you think they're going to last. Try to find the most dry and cool place on your property, hands down. No matter where it is, even if you got to put it like this. Say you get yourself a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket, and you can get one that's got like a little bit of a lockable lid where you just kind of push a tab and open and shut it. Put whatever you want to stay good, the most important things, maybe even like the Mylar bags. And you can designate yourself a 5-gallon bucket, put your goods down into that bucket, close it. Now you have not just the goods that are in the Mylar bags, but you have the goods inside of a sealed compartment. First of all, like I said in that video with Mylar bags, it's like a flexible aluminum can. So A, you're not going to get rats eating through there. Also, with an oxygen absorber, it's going to keep that food a lot longer lasting. Now add all that into a 5-gallon bucket with a lid on it and set it somewhere in a cool, dry area. I can't even begin to tell you how long that product is going to last. As well as all the people saying, well, they don't make canned goods and stuff like they used to. The cans are lined with plastic and blah, blah, blah. Blah. Listen, they don't make nothing like they used to. But I can tell you that if you take care of your stuff, now I heard people saying, well, botulism, and if it's got a dent in it, or if the can is starting to swell. No, wait, well, we all know that. We're not a bunch of idiots here. So you got to use your nose, your sight, your senses, stuff like that. If you open up a can of good and it's outdated and it smells bad, throw the thing out. I'm not here to get anybody sick or claim that everything's going to last forever and go ahead and eat it and, everything will be fine. No, I'm not in the business to get lawsuits or anything like that. The video was all about suggesting the fact being that most people, when they see an expired date on a canned good, they end up going, oh, well, I better go get something else. Yeah, you better go get some. The best buy date is considered what that product is best consumed by. Does it mean that it's not good to eat? No, it doesn't. All right. So people see that best buy date, they're like, well, no. Or they give it away to food banks or chuck it in the trash and go buy new stuff. So it's going to be all on you folks. You're going to have to use your mind and sense. And a lot of people have commented on that video saying, oh, I ate rations from 1950s and C rations. And, I've eaten canned goods that are 10, 15 years old and they were fine and stuff. Not everything is going to be the same way, especially who knows? How much, if you got canned goods and maybe you move around and they get dented or they, whatever, or they're not consistently in an area where they should stay good, then your results may end up varying and stuff. Let's see who else we got on here. Expeditionary Johnny. Imitation crab meat dehydrates and rehydrates very well. I always keep some on hand to toss in my Korean ramen when I'm out on a hike. I've never heard that. So that's cool to hear, Johnny. Bluefin, that sounds good. I will have to try that. Works well in a seafood curry and rice as well. Ooh, now you're getting me hungry. So, Mary Quite, after hearing about the floods, I purchased some plastic bins and put all my dried goods in them, pasta, rice, beans, and etc. She also goes on to say, my neighbor just gave me 10 pounds of amaretto decaf coffee beans because they didn't have expiration date. I am blessed. Well, Mary, I'm telling you right now, and you folks out there, since we did that video on the expiration stuff, I've been deemed by a lot of people as being a prepper channel. Well, I'm not a prepper channel. We do a lot of things for prepping, because we have no other choice. We live out in the middle of nowhere and we have to prepare for things that might happen. We can't just run down to the local store down the block and we got what we need. We have to be prepared for what we have going on up here in the middle of nowhere. It's not just a one and done, and you can only buy so many things. So I'm not going to overstock. There is such thing as getting too many things and hoarding things, and nothing in this world lasts forever. It doesn't matter. And there are some certain products that will last longer, others, and you're not going to get the same results when it comes to all canned foods. And I've heard a lot of people saying that the foods that are acidic, like tomato goods and stuff like that, those tend to rot through cans a little easier, and so on and so on. A lot of people ask me about evaporated milk. I don't have the answers for all that stuff. You're just going to have to trust yourself. Don't ever buy more than what you think you're going to end up eating in a pronounced period of time. But I don't know about y'all, but there's times where you can buy a lot of canned goods, and every week you go to the store, get things, and just pick up a few more cans. Before you know it, 2-3 years gone by, and you're like, what's at the back of there? And you're like, oh, I totally forgot about that. Oh, but it looks like the expiration of the Best Buy. And that's when you're like, if you're going to keep it, and you're like, I'm going to try it, open the thing up, smell, taste it, check for bulges, anything like that. Use the sense God gave you. All right. Don't listen to just me, a guy that's going to say, trust me. All right. You're going to have to trust yourself as well. And that is the key to everything I had to talk about. I was just stating facts about the FDA, the USDA, all that stuff. And the big myth where you have to throw away the stuff as soon as the date comes up. That's not true. You have to use your best judgment. On to other things. What else we have going on? And we still got Strong's Adventure, Billy and Rhonda on here. EpiPens are also good after the expiration dates. They're not cheap, so don't throw them away if the date is expired. Expeditionary Johnny, good point. Nowadays, the supply chain is still hurting, so I tend to buy a little bit extra to help get through the slow periods. Robert Morton, enjoy the live stream. I appreciate it, Robert. Thank you so much for dropping by, each and every one of you guys, and especially folks that you don't have to have a channel and put videos out to enjoy good YouTube. And it really goes to show that it's a community full of people that look out for each other. And I love looking up here on the chat and seeing chats amongst chats and discussions made where other folks can talk amongst each other. And there's so many good folks out there that have so many good channels. And you don't even have to have a YouTube channel. It's just good down-home folk people that think a lot like you and like the outdoors and just straight up, being a real folk. And from the heart, from the soul, there's no gimmicks. There's no, anything. It's just about being a real folk. And those are the kind of people that I enjoy and I appreciate more than anybody else out there. I don't care what kind of car you drive. I don't care what kind of house you drive. I don't care if you got 10 kids and you're Mormon. It don't make any difference to me. When it comes down to it, it all comes from the heart of what kind of person you are and how you treat your fellow brothers and sisters out there. So believe it or not, we've made it over an hour and a half here in our inaugural live stream. Trapper4235, love your channel. Buddy, I love you coming and watching my channel. And anytime I see you up there and leaving a comment for any reasons whatsoever, now I love it. Each and every one of you guys. You got too many people that to bring up their names and stuff. That's why I said if you like these live chats and you want to come in, and I'm going to give you some shout outs. If you got questions, I'm here to answer them. And it's about doing all this stuff and having a great time together and everything. We got a few more minutes before we're going to wrap this thing up because I got a few chores to take care of. We got out of work and we rushed home and changed our clothes, got the dog fed, and we're right here for you. So we got a couple things we still have to take care of before the evening's done because Lord knows we got to get up and pay the bills tomorrow. But I do want to leave on a couple of small notes, though. First and foremost, you folks out there that got some ideas that maybe for some other video ideas, please feel free to share them with me either on this live chat or email me at creativeoutdoorsman@gmail.com or leave a comment on one of my videos. I never go into any one of my videos with a teleprompter, no side notes. I'm not looking at notes or any of that other stuff. And most of the time, I don't even have an idea what I'm going to be putting out as a video until literally just before I start shooting it. Something comes to me, I'm inspired by something, or something just came across my brain, or maybe I was just looking at something online that had no relevancy to anything, and I took it to a point where like, let's give this a try. Let's see what it is that we can make out of this. Mary Quite, what do you do? I am a journeyman plumber. Well, I'm a Florida journeyman plumber. Now that I'm in Kentucky, in case you guys missed this and stuff, my boss handed me the code book that I can study for here in Kentucky, and they're going to pay me to get my test so we can be an official journeyman licensed plumber here in the state of Kentucky. I've been doing plumbing for quite a few years. Now, some of you folks out there kind of wondering about it. A lot of you folks know me as a creative outdoorsman, but I didn't start YouTube as a creative outdoorsman. I started as a plumbing channel called Plumbing with Tim, and a lot of you folks out there know that. And I've had a lot of people ask, when are you going back to do your plumbing videos, Tim? I want to see them. Well, that channel has been much more successful in the past than my outdoors channel has been, except for recently. And I haven't really been able to post much anything on there since we moved, because we live in an area where not all things are the same as what they used to be. I don't want to get in trouble working for the company that I work for because I'm doing videos on their time. Not to mention the fact that I'm still in my 90 days and I don't have my own van yet. Here in the next month or so, when things start settling in and we can get down to normal and I can have my own work van, we'll start working on some of those. If you haven't been on my other channel on how I started stuff, it's Plumbing with Tim. And you'll see I haven't really put any videos out well, but I've got a ton of people that just keep constantly coming on, and we get a ton of views, a ton of subscribers every single day, even without doing anything. And I feel bad because I should be putting some videos on there, but we're at a point in our life where we've had to take a little bit of break of it with that channel and pretty much concentrate on living and surviving here. Not to mention, really letting this channel here take off and give it a little more attention. Trapper4235, you should do an outdoor video in the woods of Kentucky. Buddy, I'm ready. I'm willing. I'm waiting. I may end up doing that this weekend. Like I said, I got to watch out for the ticks. The ticks around here, they could be devastating. They get, Rocky Mountain spotted fever and Lyme disease. But I'm dying to go out in these woods and do some hiking and stuff. And I got all my outdoor equipment and all that stuff. I want to go out and do a solo overnight. We got some good outdoor recreation area. Heck, I don't even have to pay for camping around here anymore. I live in the woods, but it's nice to get out and to go somewhere else outside of home and stuff. But I'd like to take you guys out in the deep woods, and that stuff's coming. There are a lot of that's coming down the road. Trust me. And you'll get to see the pure, joy and how beautiful it is out in these woods and how thick these woods really are. I still got my boat. I still got all the stuff I have. As soon as we get settled in and really get things going, I'm finishing that sucker off. And we're going out on the Great Kentucky Lake, which is in the top 10 bass fishing lakes in the country. They have tournament fishing out here, and I haven't been able to go out and do nothing. I down here and did my one video, and it showed you a pass over with my drone of the lake and everything. It's absolutely amazing down here. Or up here in Kentucky, and all the amenities, the outdoors, and all that good stuff. So I'm like a kid in the candy store that hasn't had the chance to eat any candy yet. So, but Creative Outdoorsman, now would be the time to talk about the other channel. It is really good. We just did that. Thank you guys. Squire Telecaster, do you ever fish in the local streams? Another good question. You've got some great local streams. You saw me do a little short video with my dog at the Brush Creek a couple of Sundays ago, and the area that I was at is deep, and it's got smaller fish like this, nothing really big. Now, the Clark's River, where you saw me looking for Indian artifacts and stuff, that's got some areas where it's going to be bigger fish and stuff, but you have to be there at the right time because that place gets busy. Not a lot of people live here, period. Okay, the entire county has like 17,000 people, period. But that is a little public area where it can get busy in times, and it's hard to get down through there. Not to mention, if you get a lot of hard rain, that place floods out hardcore, and you can't even get down through there. It's just a flash flood going through there. But these are things that I want to do. I've got all my fishing gear. I've got my boat. I've got all the stuff. I need to do all these things, but just have not got a chance to get out and do things. We got to survive. We got to work our job. We got to stay, busy. We got to take care of the outpost. Building the cabin coming up. So we're going to share all these good things. When the weekends come, it's just like on Saturdays, I run into town to go get my provisions and do my laundry and stuff. By the time I get back, I'm put my laundry away, doing my dishes, cleaning everything up and everything. By then it's afternoon. Like I said, being old guy, I'm ready to take a freaking nap. But we always take the time to do things. And once things start smoothing out and settling out over the upcoming months and everything, I'm looking very forward to getting back into some of those real fun, activities that a lot of you folks subscribe to. And somebody mentioned we got Spam Timber is coming very soon. So that'll be prolific, and we'll be having a contest, and we will have a winner with some prizes this year because we're more on our feet and things are more stable. And I've already got prizes that are already set up, ready to go out. We just need people to make those recipes. So that being said, the date today is the 17th. So you've got probably right around 2 weeks until the beginning of Spam-tember. And I'd love to see all of your guys' video ideas. Listen, even if you don't have a channel, you just want to take some pictures and send them to me to my email, creative.outdoorsman@gmail.com. That's all coming down the road here in a couple weeks. And we got a lot of Spam Timberheads that are waiting to do that stuff. And it's a great way for the community to come together because everybody loves seeing what everybody else does. You would not believe how many different food recipes that you can come up with and be creative at by just using simple Spam. Now, Spam's not good for you. Nothing's good for you. Driving in traffic, smoking cigarettes, whatever. Nothing's good for you these days. But it's fun. It's that one time of the year where everybody can get together as a community and put out their little take on their spam timber. And I take each one of those videos and I put them in a playlist. That way, everybody gets a chance to go down through and watch everybody's video. Instead of having to search everybody's channel, they can go to a one-stop shop to my channel, go over to the playlist list, which will be this year, Spam Timber 2022, and be able to see all the good videos. Because once you put a Spam Timber video out, I'm going to snatch that video and I'm going to add it to that playlist. That way, all the folks out there that can watch all the different great Spam Timber challenges videos. And we're going to try to change a couple things up this year. I haven't exactly decided. The best part about doing these kind of contests is we don't like to make very many rules, because the more rules, it starts not becoming fun. It's pretty much spam. It's spam. So get ready and get out there and think of some recipes. Stock up on your spam. Get creative on it. And we can't wait till Spam Timber hits here in another couple weeks or so. So last of the chat here, let's go down through a couple other little small thing. Trapper4235, we covered this already. How is your dog doing since he got hit by the car? He's doing great. He's a little pain in my butt. I'm getting ready to go get him fixed. He's turned 8 months old, and his little nuts have dropped, and he's got full of testosterone, and we need to get that back down a little bit because he's still very jumpy, edgy, and I don't want to burn the spirit out of little guy or anything, but he needs to become more of a country dog because he still likes racing after cars, and I'm afraid next time he gets it, he's not going to make it. Plain old Chuck, food saver. Strong's Adventure, you asked about the audio. If you tap on the table, it gets loud on the mic. I know. I'm realizing that. I can't help it. Thank you very much. And Mary Quite. Oh, of course. Haha. Plain old Chuck. So, folks, we're going to wrap this up. We're at 1 hour and 46 minutes. And I appreciate every single one of you guys that came in here. All the good folks that took the time. I got to get some food in me. We got to get our clothes and stuff ready for work tomorrow. We will be here next weekend. We'll try some new things. If the weather's nice, we may end up actually moving it outside, so you actually can be outside at the Outpost for the live chat and stuff. And let me know in the comments, or shoot me some messages, whether you like the 6 o'clock, which I think worked out pretty good. Most people said that they were going to come on, ended up showing up, or if it's better at 7. If it's 7, that's 6 for me, and that's kind of late for me because I only got a certain amount of time for I get things done. But I got a chance. We did it. We did it together. Thank you guys so much for a great live stream here, live at the Western Kentucky. Got any comments, questions? Leave them on the page. Don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about it. Take care, and I'll see you on the Outpost.